Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Cheers to 10-Year interview. I am with Ambassador and 17 Hats member Kéra Golombisky, and we are super excited to have you here. She is going to come in and share some knowledge with you all about how she has obtained success over the last 10 years of being in business. Kéra, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Let's just start off by you giving us a little bit of information about you. What do you do? Where you're from? How long you been, or how did you find 17 Hats? Let's just dive into the basics.
Yeah, so I'm a wedding photographer. I have been a photographer now for 12 years, which is crazy to say out loud. I started in St. Petersburg, Florida, and then made my way to Nashville about 5 years ago. And 17 Hats has literally been in my life since 2015, so practically 10 years. And I truly could not do my business at all without 17 Hats. Truly, it's the first thing I open up on my computer. It's the last thing I look at before I close the laptop. And so I'm just so excited to be here and talk about all the things I love about it.
I love that. I mean, I feel like when you get into 17 Hats, it can be a little intimidating. But once you get going and moving and grooving, it just becomes a part of your business. It becomes a part of your daily routine. Talk to me a little bit about that. How was that journey for you of getting onboarded? And because it can be a long journey. Like I always tell people, I'm like, you don't have to get onboarded in a day, a month, or a year. Like it can be a slow process. It's okay.
And you know what? I think I'm part of that slow process crew because I feel like I'm still onboarding new things. Obviously, the new features that get released, I just onboarded online scheduling for my mini sessions this fall, and I'm already loving everything about it. And I think my clients are as well because it's super easy. But not to get off track there, but yeah, I think when I first got into 17 Hats, I don't even remember what I was looking for. I just knew I needed a system that worked for me. And I don't know if you remember this at all, but in the Wedding Wire days, like 10 years ago, they actually had a part of their membership where they had a CRM part of their membership. So I was using that. I didn't know any better. I was a year into business. I'm like, let's just use this. It's easy. But then I just needed more. I needed questionnaires. I needed client relationship. I needed a way to organize the business a little bit better. And 17 Hats just appeared. And I honestly don't know where it was. Maybe a friend or a colleague was using it. But the moment I got into it, I was like, this is exactly what I was looking for. And I just feel like every year it's been getting better and better. And so I just haven't left. I haven't had a reason to leave. It's been the best tool I've had in my business.
I love that. I love it. Let's talk a little bit about how your business has grown over the last 10 years or more because you've been in business what do you say 12? So I know that gosh, when you're growing a business it's tough. It's not the easiest thing in the world. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? What has been some struggles that you have faced just in general over the last 10 years and how have you overcome them?
Oh my gosh. I think one of the biggest struggles was moving states.
Ooh,
Yes. And I know a lot of people do that. But I just kind of went into it open handed, like, you know what, we're just going to do this. I can still travel back and forth. It's not a big deal. And then COVID hit. So I think COVID, obviously, for a lot of people, things slowed down. It was a kind of reset. But overcoming that, being in a new market with COVID, how am I supposed to get out there and get to know people and network with people? And so you just get creative. And so I did a lot of Zoom calls with, vendors in the industry here in Nashville, like, hey, we can't meet in person, but maybe we can have a virtual wine or virtual coffee.
yeah.
So just getting really creative in those ways. But after COVID, getting in the room was the biggest thing for me. So really overcoming all of that, getting in the room, that has just helped me so much to get my name out there in a new market and meet people in the industry that now know who I am and can start referring me. I think that was just the biggest hurdle was moving states, COVID, and just kind of getting to be known again.
Because moving states by itself, That's a challenge. And then if you have COVID directly afterwards, I love how you said you got creative with things, right? I know a lot of people are very fearful, right? They're introverts. There's a lot of anxiety around it. Like putting yourself out there is not the easiest thing for most people. And as small business owners, whether you're a photographer, a balloon artist, even like it doesn't matter what you are, you're really good at your craft, but a lot of times you're not necessarily good at people.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And I think I'm very blessed with that, being a very warm people person. I love people. It's just, I love listening to them, hearing their stories. And so I think that part comes a little bit naturally for me. But getting over the hump and the fear of like meeting people online was so different because you can't really get body language as much. And so that was really hard at first. But I think just like what you and I are doing, just being very open and having a conversation, the more vulnerable people can get, the more vulnerable I can get, the easier I think it is to get closer to people.
Listening, I think that's the word that popped in as you were speaking that really stood out, because I think a lot of times, especially when you are creating networking opportunities or you're networking with somebody specifically, you tend to want that connection. And so then you tend to kind of over talk or say a lot. And sometimes it's better to just sit back and listen, right? And ask them questions. And so it's hard. It's a hard skill, especially somebody like me. I'm a talker. I love to just gush, right? But it's a skill that you have to learn. I think everybody has their own Achilles heel per se when it comes to networking. So I love that you were like, yeah, I'm a pretty good people person, but being on Zoom, that it is different because you're right. You don't see people's body languages.
Oh gosh, yeah, it is so different. But I love that what you were talking about listening. I think in the beginning stages of our business, we're so excited and we just want to tell everybody about ourselves and everybody about our business. Here's my business card. How can we work together? But as I've matured in my business, what I've realized and what I really enjoy now about networking meetings and groups is that I go in there authentically, really just wanting to get to know people. Because at the end of the day, if I can work with my friends, if I can work with people I really like on a personal level, then, their craft and their talent and their professionalism comes next to me. It's just, I feel like being able to work on a day with your friend is like the best.
Absolutely. I love that you use the word mature. I always talk about business maturity, right? Usually within 5 minutes of talking to somebody, I kind of know which stage of business maturity they're in, because everybody kind of hits the same markers per se. Um, how has that been for you when you talk about business maturity, right? What have you had to do as a business owner to kind of get your business to the level that it's at? Because it's not easy. It takes a lot of self reflection. It takes a lot of growth as a business owner. So, how have you helped your business mature over time and kind of push that forward to make sure you don't stay stuck in kind of a rut?
It's two things that come to mind immediately. The first thing will say is almost dying to myself. I think as a young entrepreneur, I was like, I don't need help. I can do this on my own. So I think it was really just taking that part out and just knowing that it was okay to ask for help. It was okay to seek out
Yeah.
coaches and mentors and people that have been there before me to say, this is how I did it. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily do it that way. That definitely came with years of business,
Yeah.
of
Yep.
knowing that that was okay. Um,
That is definitely a stage. I mean, that is a very early stage that I see when people are like, nope, I'm doing this on my own. On my own, I need no help. I don't need automation. I don't need this. I don't need that. And I'm like, okay,
mhm.
for me, it's not an offense. It's, they just need to continue to continue, and they will get to the point of, okay, I'm ready for help and I'm ready to be able to accept help.
Yes, and honestly, 17 Hats support team, can I just say they are the best. Every time I have a question or I'm stuck and I just don't know what to do, literally I'll just hop in the chat and they are right there to help me and they are just the kindest people every time. I love them.
Oh, I will pass that along to them. They are an excellent team. We love our support team.
I love them too. Big hearts.
They will be very excited to hear it.
The second thing I will say was just mindset was huge. I think that goes also to like the first thing I was talking about, but mindset of just knowing that I can do what I put my mind to. And if I'm not scared of my dream, if I'm not scared of these goals that I put out for myself, then they're not big enough. And I know that sounds really cliche, but
No.
we really are so capable. And we're much more capable when we have a tribe behind us or we have mentors or coaches. So they do kind of go hand in hand for me.
I love that because you're right. Sometimes we make our goals less because we are scared of them, and we make our world smaller because we are scared of it. And sometimes you really have to get your full potential. It doesn't You have this huge goal, and it actually doesn't matter if you meet that specific goal or not. It's just a matter that you're journeying towards it. Which is why I love to set like 1 year goals, 3 year goals, and 10-year goals. At the end of the day, the 10-year goal doesn't really matter. It's just the journey towards it matters.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I was just talking to a friend. They are brand new, launched a brand new business, and she's like, I'm scared. I'm nervous. I have all these things to do, all these
Yeah.
things I'm thinking about. And I said, it's good to know the mountain in front of you, but right now just focus on the pebbles, like for your
Yeah.
next step. Like you don't have to conquer the mountain in one day. Like as long as you're conquering those pebbles every single day, like eventually you'll conquer the mountain, you
Yeah.
know?
And I think what people forget is that the learnings from all of those pebbles, right? Every pebble you take on, every small step you make, you're going to learn so much about you, about your business, about your audience, about your clients, whatever it is that you're doing, marketing, bookkeeping, whatever, tasks that you're doing. And that knowledge is what helps you overtake the mountain, right? Some people just want to skip directly to the mountain, and it's like, but you have no knowledge to do that, right? You don't have any experience to do that. And so all of those pebbles is what allows you to gain the experience. And I feel like a lot of times we go through and we do things and we're forgetting the lessons learned. And because we don't have the lessons learned, we're kind of handicapping ourselves a bit.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You remind me. So earlier this year, I said to myself, I really want to start photographing tented weddings and I want to be in this higher tiered space and I know I can do it. But before I start booking those, I said, I need to be in it. I need to understand it first. I need to just expose myself. And so I started shooting with other friends who were already in that space
Yeah.
and just learning as much as I can. And now I feel no longer, I feel more qualified because
Yeah.
I was able to sit with them and learn how they did it, how the process was. And now I feel even more confident going into my fall weddings with tents.
I love that because you're investing in your education and investing in you. And as a business owner, I don't know that we put a lot of time into investing in our own growth.
Mm,
So that investment, it's also, it's even an investment in your future business, right?
right.
So if you want to grow your business, you have to invest in that, in what that growth looks like.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we don't, sometimes it's really hard to stop the chaos of the emails and the automation, stop doing all of that stuff, right? All the tasks so that you can actually invest in where you want to go.
I mean, hallelujah to workflows and 17 hats
Yeah,
because
that is true. That is true.
I can take a pause and just know things are still happening in the background. So that's really nice.
Yeah, let's dive into 17 hats just a little bit more. I know we started off with it. What is your favorite feature? I love asking this question because everybody's favorite feature is completely different. What is your favorite feature in 17 hats?
Okay, so if you were to ask me this before online scheduling, I would say Bookkeeping is my favorite.
Nice.
My favorite.
Just not a lot of people's because it's, I mean, bookkeeping is bookkeeping, right?
I know bookkeeping can be boring and mundane, but I love money. I love making money.
Yeah.
And I love being able to look at my year and understand what's coming in and how I need to be prepared. And so the bookkeeping reports that 17 Hats has is really helpful for me to look into the upcoming
Yeah.
receivables to understand, okay, in the next 30 days, I have X amount coming in. I feel really good about that. Oh, in the next 90 days, I don't really have that much coming in. What are some things that I can start promoting or doing, like fall mini sessions? So I really love that feature. I'm in that one a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one because I think sometimes we forget that we're not running charities or hobbies. We're running businesses and businesses make money, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm honestly like terrified of the IRS. So I'm just making sure that I'm doing everything right.
That is why you like bookkeeping then. That is awesome. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, have you always liked money? Like some people are very scared of money, right? Of course, everybody likes money, but some people are very scared of money. Some people are very scared of pricing their for their worth,
Mm.
or pricing for their experience. Um, how has being a business owner and charging real money, how has that journey been for you? Did that come naturally, or was there any hiccups there?
I I think it came pretty natural for me to want to charge for my services. I Without getting too much into the story, I feel like photography for me, my business was sort of born out of survivability.
Yeah.
I was working in the corporate world for a little while, and 10 years ago, I wasn't making very much money. And I said, I love photography. I love this gift. I actually
Mm.
studied photojournalism in school. I wanted to use it in some sort of capacity, just never had the opportunity. And then the business was born, and I was so excited to finally be making a career and making money out of something I loved doing. So yeah, I think it came pretty easily. Yeah,
That's
I think,
good.
yeah. The thing that didn't come very easily to me, which has been a mindset shift, was charging my worth.
Yep.
Because I think we kind of get stuck in, oh, this photographer is charging this much and that photographer is charging this much. I guess I can charge that too.
Sure.
But I think you really have to have some self reflection and what am I providing for my clients? What do I value my art at? To really understand what you feel comfortable charging for your work.
Yeah.
So that was a big shift for me.
I think that one's hard because you do see what other people are charging. And I think, especially as solopreneurship has become so much more popular with the
Oh,
internet and
yeah.
social media, and you look back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it wasn't a lot, right? Now it's truly, the market truly has exploded. Um, and there's so many people that are just like what I would more consider hobbyist
Mm,
that are just like basically giving it away for free.
right.
Right. They're passionate about it. They enjoy doing it. They have really no intentions of running it like a business, and they're just free or cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's hard. It's hard to figure out where you fit in to that huge range from super cheap to sometimes elaborately expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And what you're comfortable with too, because,
Yeah.
with a higher price tag comes additional responsibilities. And
Right.
are you ready to take on those responsibilities too? So
Yeah.
a lot of self reflection for sure.
Man, pricing's hard. It is always just I think people beat themselves up with pricing constantly. It is, I love how you mentioned self reflection because I think that's what you have to do. You have to think about it, you have to reflect on it, test it as well, and see what happens.
Absolutely.
I want to dive on over to online scheduling. I love online scheduling. I love our online scheduling specifically. Um, you said that you're now doing your mini sessions with online scheduling.
I am.
Yeah, how's it been for you?
It's so smooth. I mean, honestly. So I did the workshop that you put on.
It was a long workshop. It was fun though.
It was long and I loved the replay too, so I could go back and just make sure I had everything that I needed to do. Um, but that workshop helped me get through it because I don't know if I would have started it as soon as I
Yeah,
did, without that. But it has been so smooth. Once you get it set up, it is just like easy breezy and you turn it on and my clients are booking like within 5 minutes. It's so easy. And
that's
I
amazing.
get to point them to blog posts. I get to, send them confirmation and reminder emails. And I just am so excited for the client experience
I
because
love it.
before it was so manual for me. And so I'm just excited for it to take off some pressure for me and also
Yeah.
create a better experience for them.
I love that. Have you tied other features into it yet? So have you tied pipelines into it or workflows into it yet? Because pipelines is like new.
I
So
know.
it's a great one, but it can be a little intimidating for people.
It's my next one to do. I said after this weekend, I'm diving into pipelines because I know that could just help me tremendously, especially with stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think mini sessions with the pipeline feature to know exactly where they're at is will be fun. So I look forward to hearing about you diving into that one as well. Last question or few last questions for you. For new business owners coming in year one, year two, now that you've survived 12 years in business, you've been through the ups and downs, the move, COVID, all the jazz. When you reflect back over these last 12 years, what advice would you give them to hopefully for them to be able to make it 10, 12 plus years?
The first thing that comes to mind is that entrepreneurship is not a straight line. It's filled with ups and downs. And as long as you keep going, the trajectory, though, is always up. And so many times we can get down on ourselves if we, get an inquiry that decides to go somewhere with someone different. We get no's, and that's just natural. That's normal. That's part of life. And that's definitely a part of the entrepreneurial life. But if you have the endurance, I would say keep going and just don't give up. Just keep looking at the next pebble that's in front of you and don't worry about the mountain.
I love it. I love it. If somebody wants to learn more about you, about your business, where can they find you?
Absolutely. They can find me on my website at kiraphotography.com. And they can also give me a follow on Instagram at Kira_photography.
Amazing. Kara, thank you so much for being here. This was so wonderful. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and shining your light. Congratulations. Cheers to you for your success in business as well. We appreciate you being an ambassador. We appreciate you being a member.
I love being here. Thank you so much.
Here's another interview for you. So much good stuff coming your way. I hope you're enjoying these interviews as much as I'm enjoying doing these interviews. So until next time, cheers.